All right, we're ready now?
Let me hit record.
Awesome. All right,
Okay.
now let's get pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag, of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The village of New Paltz humbly acknowledges that we are on the traditional land of Muncie, so as Lenape people. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 forced the people to relocate in hospitable territory far from the bountiful valley and mountains we inhabit today. The village further acknowledges that much of the physical structure of our village and town was built by enslaved Africans who labored as the property of their owners until 1827 on this very land. We acknowledge and honor the contributions, resilience, and accomplishments and contributions of the BIPOC community, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, who have overcome historic injustice to inform our past and inspire our future. And the village of New Paltz encourages everyone to learn more about the contributions and sacrifices made by the Indigenous people and enslaved Africans by visiting the sites that are listed on our agendas in minutes. If you ever have something to add as a resource, please let us know. Thank you. All right, so I guess we'll first just approve the consent agenda exactly as it is. So I move to approve the consent agenda. On favor? Aye. And then for the business agenda, I guess, do we have to add the P&B's thing to it tonight? Tim, you what do you think?
What are we adding tonight?
Do we have to add the P&G's liquor license thing tonight? Because I saw it didn't go, like, it just went to the VP yesterday, like a couple documents, and Joe Connor's here, but I didn't see it go to our clerk's
I would
office.
add it to the agenda and maybe have Joe in the public comment, unless you guys feel otherwise.
Yeah. So I'd like to just add to the business agenda an item, about some P&G licensing things. And we will so motion to approve the business agenda with that amendment. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we do have announcements. Did anyone else have announcements to make before I jump into my announcements?
I will say that, as always, if you are looking to help your neighbors out, just be as generous as you can with Family of New Paltz. They're currently putting things together for families in need for, whether it's holiday gifts or financial help. They can certainly use all of our help.
Okay.
And also I wanted to announce that on Saturday, the 27th, Margaret Wade Lewis Center is having its harvest celebration at the Lutheran Church from 1 to 7 p.m. All kinds of festivities. There'll be food, there'll be dancing, there'll be cool stuff. It's always fun. I hope a lot of people will come this year and learn more about Kwanzaa and celebrate.
Awesome.
And I would like to say that it has been an honor and a pleasure to have served here as a trustee of the Village of New Paltz. And I was my last meeting as a trustee. And it's been a lot of a ride.
Thank you for being on this wild ride. Yeah, so we have a couple of outgoing folks, so thank you so much, Sana and Bill, and obviously the mayor. Are you good with your announcements?
I'm done.
Cool. I have a couple of things to go over. So first, just like general announcement. We already covered Kwanzaa, thank you for that. So I'll cover Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah right now, but there's gonna be the annual celebration with Shabbat of New Paltz tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Right outside Village Hall. The menorah is lit already. There will be jelly donuts, music, community. I always enjoy going, especially for music, so see you all there. Anyone have other just general announcements before I jump into the village governance next steps announcement that's a little long? Tim, do you have something or I'll jump in? Okay.
I do not.
So I wanted to just kind of cover, some next steps for the village. For anyone who's wondering, don't worry, we'll be keeping everyone posted all along the way. Everything, is kind of laid out at, in New York State General Code. So here's the sitch. So obviously, Mayor Tim Rogers got elected, to be the town supervisor. So he'll be stepping into his newly elected position as supervisor on January 1st. In the consent agenda that we just approved, we accepted his resignation from mayor, which then is effective when the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Eve. At that time, the deputy mayor, which is me, just becomes automatically the acting mayor until the appointment of a mayor. The 2026 version of this body will be tasked with that vacancy. I'm working, with trustee Steve Zesta, trustees-elect Alan Ross and Rich Soto, and obviously with all the input and insight from Tim and current, body two, and the rules on a process, for what that appointment looks like and what the public call for applications looks like, just to, include the whole community. So everything, all this work will, pass the muster of our attorney's review before being shared publicly. I'll have a letter out in the Hudson Valley One soon. It's a group project, so just stay tuned on that. So the timeline will be applications due by January 23rd. They'll be considered on a rolling basis. We'll have a new mayor appointed by the end of February, the latest. People, if you're 18 or up and a resident of the village, you can apply to be considered. So stay tuned for that process. The person appointed to that position of mayor will hold the title of mayor. They'll have the power set forth in the village law section 4-400, as well as any power conferred upon them by the board. The person appointed as mayor, they'll receive the salaries set forth in the 2025-26 village budget. Can't be changed absent a local law that changes it. So strong candidates are basically, if you have ever thought of getting involved, that's you. Just one more village governance continuance thing is we will be having our meetings the same days, Wednesdays, the second Wednesday. We will be on our own. On the fourth Wednesday, we'll be hosting the town every month for a forever regularly scheduled joint meeting, which is going to be really awesome. So that's my announcements for now. And then Tim, did you want to say anything, or I can jump in with a moment to memorialize everyone we lost?
I don't have any announcements.
It just keeps lighting up, so I'm like, oh, is it? Yeah. That's good.
I just had a question. Someone not be a resident of the village, be appointed and then move into the village within a certain amount of time. It's a question I can
We will get that answer, at the first meeting next year, for sure.
I didn't hear the question.
Can someone apply, someone say, for example, in the town apply for a position, and then if they are appointed, they have a certain amount of time to move into the village to be the position.
I believe in order to be appointed, you could apply certainly, but in order to be appointed, you have to be an eligible voter in the jurisdiction to be an elected officer. So
So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Election law is different for local government too. So what you see with people in Congress, where they move in 90 days, isn't really what happens here. But I'll make sure to get that really fleshed out in plain speak. We'll put this all out to the public for sure. Cool. So just want to move on to, one more announcement. So just want to take a moment. We lost some, really engaged and contributing community members recently. So just wanted to take a moment to memorialize them. Karen Fairweather, Marlene Alfieri, and Tom Rocco. Oh, sure.
Very lovable spitfire. is an advocate for people who are watching. She felt very strongly that people experiencing homelessness should be better cared for, and we should work together to help alleviate food insecurity. She advocated for others and was revered and loved by all. Karen Fairweather served as executive director of the Maternal Infant Services Network. We contributions help. Also active in community life, serving on the boards and volunteering for social organizations at the Upland Library, Historic Huguenot Street, the Lewis Center, and many others. Thomas Rockwell. Tom served on the village board, the planning board, the master planning task force in 2010. He was appointed to the planning board in 2011, led to the village board in 2013. Kind, wise, and affable, he was a community organizer, instrumental in forming the activist group Interact. Any of these wonderful contributions.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on to public comment. And then so if you want to come up, Joe, I think now would be a good time.
I just, the record, Kristen, one of the two principals, also. That's okay. And I just want to thank everyone for the opportunity to speak on that. Bartender there, honestly, 1987.
Cool.
Anyway, so we're required to do an application for modification of operation. Some of you probably remember it was certainly in the press that there was an incident where there was a raid in a bar, and that was heavily litigated for including trials, multiple reasons. And ultimately, the liquor authority agreed not to suspend the license back for modifications that at the time they said we just essentially want to see when you do this, come back and you can make an application if you haven't had any problems. What the changes were, and the most significant one is that they were not allowing any music other than ambient background music. They didn't allow DJ, not just music. There was a trivia night that they usually would have. They didn't allow trivia night anymore. They wouldn't allow anything that was live other than background. In addition to that, there were requirements of security being there during dinner hours and being there for essentially at least a 5-hour shift. The business and in the application that we made for change, the business that PG uses that. So in addition to the loss of business, number of food and beverage, they were required to have security if anyone's traveled in there in the last year. There are security guards that literally sit and almost nothing other than they'll check IDs for everyone that comes in. They usually are there. It's hard to get people there because they only work 2 hours and pay them for 5 hours regardless of the state interstate law. So it is a huge, and you have to sell about 20 to 30 dinners just to pay the security. So that's a reality. Know that fact. Of all the security requirements that are required under normal liquor requirements. That's kind of real. So that whole bunch of days. Wednesday at 5 o'clock, Thursday, Friday and Saturday are days where the security, everyone is registered security to submit all those applications to the liquor authority, and they met every guideline. Liquor authority and the town police have followed PGs very closely for over a year. The police, and I've spoken to Matt Sutton, he said there's not been any incident. They've checked IDs where they've checked other bars and found multiple people underage. They've not found a single underage person in any of the checks inside of PGs volunteers to work with, volunteers to work with the police, and they've done that and allowed people to get ID in line regularly. One of the other changes is they were required to use a very specific brand scanner called IntelliCheck scanner. The problem with that, it doesn't track duplicate IDs. So if you checks an ID, it will go right to the DMV database. That's the advantage of it. So you can't use necessarily a fake ID, but multiple people can just scan the same ID back and forth and utilize that. It also doesn't have a database when there's any for saving it. So if police want to identify someone who's in or who's out, it doesn't save in that number. So it's very frustrating. The P&Gs have agreed to use a scanner and a quality scanner, and probably in all likelihood a better scanner than that specific company. That's really limited in what it can do. And that the liquor authority had meetings with their general counsel, and they understood what we were talking about, why it's been a problem. So in the addition things, they like to have that scanner for liability reasons, and that was under the advice of the attorney. It's a scanner that identifies people, has a database. If something happens and they say, hey, I was in there, I wasn't in there, you're going to go back and say, hey, this is when the person was or wasn't in there. The last issue is they were requiring that an owner essentially be present at all hours. Kristen has 2 children. Michael is there a lot, but it would be require him to be there every night until 2 on one night a week. Saturday she was free. But it was a real owner's requirement that we're still agreeing to have managers, the persons identified as managers there, who are trained, and everyone, by the way, is trained there in TIPS training, where they all know how to train, how to identify people who are underage, how to identify people who are intoxicated. So everyone has a training. The big issue here, we had to go before you folks, wanted to get a waiver of the 30-day notice, which is a normal procedure. We're hoping to get on the Liquor Authority Board a full hearing on this matter, which requires going before the full board in January.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why there's a little bit of a rush. So I said, hey, you've got to get this done, you've got to get the waiver signed, and you've got to go at least be heard or allow them to comment on what your proposal is. And the other thing, there's been very little involvement in the police or any FPGs for well over a year. So some of you know this event happened fairly accurate. It was in March, so it's been well over a year and a half actually. So these are all in place, and the financial problems that occurred are really significant. And their competitors up and down the street are open in much greater detail than the establishment right across from them has a back and front, has full bands, music, anything they want, snug obviously. Has bands on almost every night. P&Gs are just like that, they have music. They don't usually use bands. It's not that type of raucous. They just wanted someone to play music. The DJ was paid. The other thing that I just want to impress on P&Gs, many of the employees, not only are they salaried, they also have benefits. So P&Gs has a bigger payroll and requirement of what they need to earn to cover all those salaries and all the benefits that many of those people receive. And that's not very unusual in the restaurant business that they're doing that. Many of their employees have been there for 20 years or more. So we're just asking that this board look at the methods of operation. I'll field any questions you have about them, and I'm fairly trying to go back and forth. And then the Liquor Authority, it appears, based upon communications with General Counsel, that they're also going to recommend, the board that has to vote on it. But the General Counsel I've spoken with on this at least a half dozen times, seems to be on board with each and every change that is confirmed. Have spoken with the enforcement and said that yes, all the things that you're suggesting are reasonable based upon the fact that there's been no problems in the year. I don't remember not since the place was shut that one. And that was not excusable, but it was a lot of road activity by employees that we determined, and a lot of steps by the Liquor Authority that we were clear up that might have not been appropriate during the trial process. So.
Cool. I appreciate you explaining this all so well. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable having read it all. So it was a slightly different, version of that application that we've all seen a million times. So yeah, before you go, I think Bill has a question.
Yeah.
Sure.
You cited what's happened in the last year with all these restrictions and requirements. Is what happens when those are lifted?
Well, there's no change. They're required to follow all of the rules and regulations of the Liquor Authority.
Right.
They will continue to be monitored. Police are to report the Liquor Authority. The Liquor Authority, I'm sure, will continue to send persons down and investigate. The security are all licensed security, so the same persons will be there as if it was before this event, before they were shut down. So it'll be all those requirements will all be in place. So they're not going to step back any of those requirements. There'll be a manager there, which is not a requirement of every bar, so they're going above on that. And some of the hours of service have changed a lot. Drinking nationally and locally is way down. So they are, for instance, Saturday night, it would be rare that they're open past 3 o'clock. Friday, it's usually, if you go by pages, sometimes I think it's sad, maybe not to everyone, that the bar is closed at 12:30. Yeah. Yeah, sad. So, and then Monday, Tuesday, it's closed at 9:30 or 10. Monday Night Football, which used to be a big draw, is by the end of the fourth quarter, there's almost no one there anymore. And that, I think it's less related to the restrictions, more related to drinking changes. And of course, because of screwing the liquor authority, a lot of reasons that these will enforce all these for their own liability reasons. That hey, that this was brought to our attention. We dropped everything, took every change, met with the liquor authority nonstop. I mean, I probably had 3 or 4 dozen lengthy calls, including hearings with the liquor authority, saying, hey, we're going to keep giving you proof where we are. We've been submitting proof the whole time. We submitted very detailed, not just an application, but the change of use before, the financial aspect of it. Here, but they were significant, crushing to a business that didn't want to fire their employees, and they didn't kept them on. I do know that the owners did not draw paychecks for a significant period of time, not months, months and months and months, and they just can't do them. Not the previous owner, the dad, and young people who are trying to, they got to do it.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I feel like you just answered every question that people watching this meeting might have at some point. So, and otherwise, it's honestly pretty punctuating, so
Great.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you guys all very much. And then you have our client there, she's quiet.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Tim.
Do you,
Thank
You
you.
too.
Joe, do you need an actual resolution from them?
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Be big.
probably, yeah.
We added it, yeah, so we added it to the business agenda to do that, but, so that was public comment. To
Got
make
it.
it easier, so we're gonna bounce that real quick because there is still an open public hearing. There's no one else to make public comment, right? No.
Nobody online? Nope.
We have, an open public hearing on local law with the village manager. I propose we keep it open. Cool. And then deal with that next time. Tim, you had something to say?
Yeah, why don't we just close the public hearing?
Okay, motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Cool, thank you for that. Nice, time up in sense. All right, so now down to the business agenda, item number 1. So I move to approve the request from P&G's for a waiver of a 30-day period for consideration related to application with proposed changes. So, all in favor? Aye. Okay, everyone's losing their voices. All right, so then we have our 2026 building and zoning board fee schedule and planning board fee schedule. Thank you. I love kicking off the new year with things in place. So I move to approve the 2026.
Yeah, just to, for information, so last year, or for this year, we only made one change on all the building fees, and that was the processing fee. We left everything else the same. I went back and it's been the same now for 5, 6 years, maybe, maybe not quite that long, but this will bump everything up anywhere from 10 to 15%. Kind of keeps it in. I looked around at a lot of neighboring communities. The planning board, I made some tweaks in a little bit of a different fee structure. I think there were a few things we were maybe charging more than we should, and a few things we weren't charging enough. And the other key is now with the planning board, since I've come on board, a half an hour of the attorney's fees is included as the first half hour is included with the building or the planning board fee. Everything else goes from escrow, but the initial review of the application is now included. That was what Nancy had wanted it always to be, and it never quite got set up right. So hopefully this will take care of all those issues.
Yeah, so thank you for your work on this. It all makes perfect sense to me. I also did some. So we have a motion, someone second it. All in favor? I move our resolution. All in favor? We have a planning board report.
The other request was to approve the changes as suggested, not just the waiver was, then they needed an approval of the changes. That's.
Oh, yeah, so we can, I'll circle back and, just quickly with the first business agenda item, like a friendly amendment, to make it so that we move that we approve the request from G&Gs, that is the waiver of a 30-day period, including, the proposed changes that were included in the application. All in favor? Cool. Thank you for the.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, so we didn't have to back up again on that. All right, planning board, is there anything?
The board was canceled, last night due to
The roof and the first meeting of the month was canceled due to weather. So we have, I'm hoping that's, yeah, still working toward that, but I hope we will have one this coming Tuesday.
Anything from zoning board of appeals?
They did not have a meeting. They will have an application in January. It is a challenge to the a determination or the issuance of a building permit.
All right, so see you in January. Motion to adjourn.
Right.
All in favor? Thanks, everyone. Love you.